Welcome to Zoe Stories. Mom's friend left me a lotion. Then my body started changing. It all began on an ordinary afternoon, the kind where nothing seemed unusual. I was lounging in my room, headphones on, scrolling through my phone, half listening to the hum of the ceiling fan. Mom had mentioned that her friend, Mrs. Whitman, would be stopping by, but I didn't expect her visit to be anything remarkable. She had always been a little eccentric, warm, yet with a knowing glint in her eyes that suggested she understood things no one else did. When she arrived, I was reluctantly pulled into the living room to greet her. She smiled at me, her gaze lingering just a moment too long, as if she could see through the facade I presented to the world. "Hello, dear," she said, her voice soft and almost teasing. "I left something for you. Just a little gift." She held up a small bottle of lotion, glimmering faintly under the living room light. "Use it if you like. It might surprise you." I laughed nervously, unsure how to respond. Mom looked at her friend, puzzled, and Mrs. Whitman gave a quick wink before leaving the bottle on the counter. I stared at it after she left, running my fingers over the smooth surface. The lotion was thick, almost shimmering, with a faint floral scent that seemed to hang in the air long after she had gone. My curiosity tingled, but so did a sense of unease. That night, alone in my room, the bottle sat on my dresser like a mysterious talisman. I picked it up, turning it over in my hands. Could something so simple, just lotion, really do anything? A part of me, the part one barely acknowledged even to myself, wanted to find out. My fascination with appearance, with transformation, with the subtle thrill of becoming someone else, had always been there. Secretly, I had experimented before, wearing a dress or applying makeup when no one was watching, feeling a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. Tonight, the lotion seemed to promise more than just a temporary change. The shimmer in the bottle caught the light, almost hypnotic. With a trembling hand, I opened it and applied a small dab to my arm. The texture was silky, cool at first, then warming against my skin. I watched my reflection in the mirror, half expecting nothing to happen. And yet, there was something, an almost imperceptible shift. My arm looked smoother, softer, and a shiver ran down my spine. I laughed nervously, trying to convince myself it was imagination. But then, as I applied more to my shoulders and chest, I noticed subtle changes. My features seemed slightly more delicate, my hands softer, my eyes catching the light differently. The mirror reflected a version of me that felt both familiar and completely new. Panic and excitement warred inside me. Was this real? Was I imagining it? Or was this the beginning of something I had secretly craved, something I hadn't dared to admit even to myself? I sat on the edge of my bed, lotion in hand, staring at my reflection. Every heartbeat seemed louder than the last, echoing in my ears. The thrill of transformation mingled with fear of discovery, fear of change, and fear of the unknown path I was about to step onto. And yet, I couldn't stop myself. I dabbed the lotion on my neck, feeling the warmth spread through me, and a strange sense of liberation coursed through my body. The room felt different now, charged with a new energy. My mind raced, imagining what life could be like if I embraced this change, if I allowed myself to explore the person I had always hidden inside. The boy I had been, cautious, restrained, fearful, seemed distant, almost unreal. In the mirror, I glimpsed a softer, more delicate version of myself, someone I barely recognized but couldn't look away from. Little did I know, this was only the beginning. The lotion was more than it seemed, and the changes it would bring were only just starting. What began as curiosity and secret experimentation was about to transform my body, my mind, and my life in ways I could never have imagined. And as I sat there, staring at the reflection of someone I was not yet fully, I felt a thrill unlike anything I had ever known, an intoxicating mix of fear, excitement, and the impossible allure of becoming someone else entirely. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. At first, I chalked it up to a dream, my mind playing tricks after the previous night's experiments with the lotion. But as I stretched, something odd caught my eye. My arms looked smoother, my skin almost glowing. Even my hairline seemed softer, framing my face differently. Panic clawed at me, but beneath it, a strange thrill coursed through my veins. I glanced at the bottle of lotion on my dresser. Could it really have done this overnight? The rational part of me wanted to ignore it, throw it away, pretend nothing had changed. But another part, curious, daring, reckless, urged me to see what would happen if I used it again. At breakfast, Mom noticed nothing unusual. Emma, my girlfriend, didn't comment either, chatting about her day as usual. But every glance at my reflection in the window while passing by made my stomach twist. I felt exposed in a way I had never felt before, as though the subtle shifts in my body were signaling a secret I couldn't hide forever. By afternoon, I could no longer resist. In my room, I applied the lotion more generously, spreading it along my arms, neck, and chest. The warmth returned, stronger this time, almost intoxicating. My chest tingled, softening in ways that made me gasp. My fingers traced the subtle curves forming, and a wave of panic surged through me. What if Emma noticed? What if Mom noticed? But alongside the fear was excitement, the kind that made my heart pound and my mind whirl with possibilities. As the day passed, the changes became more pronounced. My jawline softened, my shoulders narrowed, and even my voice felt slightly higher when I spoke alone. Each shift was subtle, yet unmistakable, building a new version of me I hadn't expected. The mirror became my confidant and tormentor, reflecting a self that was both me and not me. I tried to go about my normal routine, schoolwork, texting friends, but every movement reminded me of the transformations rippling through my body. Sitting down, standing up, even breathing felt different. I became aware of the sway of my hips, the delicate arch of my hands, the gentle curve of my new chest. I was caught in a web of exhilaration and fear, unable to escape the pull of this new identity forming before my eyes. By evening, I couldn't hold back any longer. I rummaged through Emma's closet, sneaking a dress she had left behind from a party. Slipping into it, I felt an electric rush, the silky fabric hugging my softening curves, the unfamiliar weight of the skirt, the delicate pinch of stockings on my legs. My reflection was mesmerizing. I barely recognized myself, yet there was a strange sense of rightness in this transformation, a secret thrill I could not articulate. Just as I was adjusting the hem of the dress, I heard the faint click of the front door. My heart leapt. Emma? Mom? I froze, clutching the fabric against my chest. Whoever it was didn't notice me yet, and I realized that living this secret life was a dangerous game. The thrill of the change was intoxicating, but every second I spent like this made the risk of exposure more real, more terrifying. I backed away from the mirror, feeling my new curves, my softer skin, and my transformed figure. The lotion had unlocked something I could not deny. My identity was beginning to shift, and each heartbeat brought the realization that the boy I had been was fading. In its place, something delicate, thrilling, and terrifying was emerging, a version of me that could not simply return to normal. The next few days became a blur of secrecy and obsession. I found myself sneaking into my room at every opportunity, drawn to the lotion like a moth to a flame. Each application intensified the changes, and with every shift, I felt both more alive and more trapped. My chest was definitely rounding now, soft and delicate beneath my fingers. My face had taken on a gentler contour, and the first hints of my lips plumping slightly left me staring at my reflection for minutes on end. Emma noticed nothing, at least she didn't say anything, but every casual comment about my appearance made my heart race. Was she suspicious? Or was I simply imagining it? My thoughts began to twist into a dangerous obsession. What if she found out? What if Mom discovered me experimenting with dresses and lotions? The thrill of secrecy became addictive, each moment alone a chance to indulge in a hidden part of myself. I experimented further, sneaking into Emma's room when she was out. Dresses, skirts, stockings, even shoes, everything became a tool for exploration. Slipping into a flowing sundress one afternoon, I marveled at the sensation of the fabric sliding over my softer curves. My movements felt different, lighter, almost instinctively delicate. The mirror reflected a version of me I had never imagined, and a rush of both fear and excitement coursed through me. The lotion wasn't just changing my body, it was changing my perception of myself. Each subtle transformation created an internal conflict. Part of me wanted to stop, to preserve the boy I had been, to maintain some semblance of normalcy. But another, deeper part of me thrilled to these secret experiments, to the thrill of wearing a skirt and seeing my softening frame in the mirror. I began to crave the sensation, the warmth of the lotion on my skin, the silkiness of stockings, the sway of a dress with every step. One evening, as I applied the lotion and studied my reflection, I noticed something unsettling. My shoulders had narrowed further, my chest more pronounced, and the faintest curve of my hips made my silhouette unmistakably feminine. A shiver ran through me, both of fear and exhilaration. I traced my new contours with trembling fingers, my heart pounding. This wasn't just a temporary change. I was becoming someone else entirely, someone fragile and beautiful, yet vulnerable to discovery. Then came the first real scare. I had been practicing walking in Emma's heels, learning how to balance, how to move gracefully, when I heard Mom's voice from the hallway. Panic seized me. My reflection showed a version of me that could easily be seen as Emma's twin, and I had no time to change. I froze, heels pressing awkwardly against the floor, breath shallow. Mom's footsteps passed by, and I exhaled in relief, but the fear lingered like a shadow. Every thrill of transformation now carried a dangerous edge, the possibility of exposure at any moment. By the end of the week, I was addicted to the lotion, addicted to the new identity it revealed. Every glance at the mirror, every touch of silk, every sway of my hips in heels intensified my desire to explore this new self, and intensified my fear of what would happen if anyone discovered the truth. The line between boy and girl, between reality and secret fantasy, had blurred completely. The days grew longer, but my secret life became more consuming. Every free moment was spent experimenting with my changing body, exploring the subtle curves and softening features that the lotion revealed. Even simple actions like picking up a book or sipping tea felt different now, as if the weight and shape of my body demanded a new awareness, a new way of moving. The thrill of secrecy was intoxicating, but so was the fear of being caught. Emma had started noticing tiny things. My voice seemed softer. The way I sat looked different, even the faint scent of the lotion lingering on my skin. I would freeze mid-sentence when she glanced at me, heart pounding. The thrill of my hidden identity became inseparable from anxiety. I realized this transformation wasn't just physical, it was rewiring how I experienced every interaction. One afternoon, I found myself alone at home, daring to push boundaries. I applied the lotion from head to toe, massaging it into my arms, legs, and torso. The warmth surged through me, spreading like wildfire. My chest expanded subtly, my waist narrowed, and a delicate curve appeared along my hips. I caught a full reflection in the bedroom mirror and gasped. The boy I had been seemed to recede into a distant memory, replaced by someone softer, gentler, undeniably feminine. Unable to resist, I rummaged through Emma's wardrobe. A dress caught my eye, a pale pink number, silky and flowing. As I slipped into it, the sensation of fabric hugging my new curves was almost overwhelming. I twirled in front of the mirror, feeling light, beautiful, and dangerously exposed. My heart raced. Each glance at my reflection was a mix of awe and terror. Awe at what I had become, terror at what would happen if anyone found out. The suspense escalated when I heard the front door open. "Mom? Emma?" My pulse spiked, and I froze mid-twirl, balancing uncomfortably in the heels I had practiced walking in. My reflection now showed a complete transformation, a girl in appearance, a secret kept from the world. I scrambled to adjust the dress, to hide any trace of what I had done, and prayed that whoever was home wouldn't come upstairs. Mom's voice floated up the stairs, calling for something mundane, oblivious to the whirlwind of change I was undergoing. Relief washed over me, but it was fleeting. I realized that this secret life, thrilling as it was, carried an ever-present risk. Every moment of indulgence could lead to discovery, humiliation, or worse, the loss of everything I had. By nightfall, I was exhausted, physically and emotionally. The lotion sat on the dresser, gleaming under the soft light, almost mocking me. Each day, each application, pulled me further from the boy I had been and deeper into this new identity. I knew the transformation wasn't just skin deep. It was reshaping who I was, how I felt, and how I would navigate the world. And yet, the pull of curiosity and desire was irresistible. By now, the changes were impossible to ignore. My reflection in the mirror was no longer just subtly different. It was almost unrecognizable. My face had softened dramatically. My cheekbones were delicate, my jawline narrower, and my lips plump enough to make me pause every time I caught a glimpse of myself. My body had shifted in ways I hadn't anticipated. Shoulders narrowed, chest curved into soft mounds, and my hips gently flared. The boy I had once been seemed like a fading memory. Every evening, I found myself drawn to the lotion, compelled to feel the warmth spread across my skin, to trace the contours of my changing body. Each application heightened my awareness of my femininity, and with every glance in the mirror, I felt a mix of fear, excitement, and an almost intoxicating sense of liberation. The secret thrill of becoming someone else entirely was now impossible to resist. But with transformation came a new anxiety. I started noticing the smallest details, my voice cracking slightly when I spoke too quickly, the way my movements had become more fluid and delicate. Every interaction with Emma or Mom brought a wave of panic. I found myself overthinking, imagining their reactions to the changes I was undergoing. Would Emma accept me? Would Mom understand? Or would they see me as a stranger, a betrayal of the boy they knew? The suspense of being caught became part of the daily ritual. One evening, as I experimented with a new dress from Emma's closet, I heard a knock on my bedroom door. My heart leapt, and I froze. "Hey, are you in there?" Emma's voice called softly. I clutched the dress to my chest, breath shallow, trying to compose myself. I whispered that I was fine, but my mind raced. What if she insisted on coming in? What if she discovered the lotion, the heels, the transformation? The lotion's effects seemed to accelerate under stress. My chest felt heavier, my waist narrower, and my hips more pronounced. My reflection in the mirror now showed someone undeniably feminine, someone who could not easily be mistaken for the boy I had been. Panic and desire collided in my chest, and I realized that my secret identity was no longer just a fantasy. It was becoming reality, reshaping every aspect of my life. By the end of the evening, I was caught in a cycle of exhilaration and fear. The lotion was no longer a mere curiosity. It was a catalyst, changing not only my body but also my emotions, my desires, and the very way I viewed myself. Every touch, every movement, every glance in the mirror reinforced that I was stepping further into a life I had never imagined, one filled with beauty, vulnerability, and suspense. As I lay in bed that night, the dress carefully folded on my chair and the lotion glowing softly on the dresser, I knew I was no longer the same. The boy I had been was gone, replaced by a girl whose life was intertwined with secrets, thrill, and a constant, lingering fear of exposure. And deep down, I knew the real challenges were only just beginning. By now, my life had become a delicate balancing act. Every morning, I awoke with the lingering warmth of the lotion, a reminder that my body was no longer entirely my own. My curves had softened further, my face unmistakably feminine, and even the way I walked and moved carried an unfamiliar elegance. Each glance in the mirror both thrilled and terrified me. Emma had started noticing subtle differences, asking questions I couldn't answer. "You look different today," she remarked casually one afternoon, brushing past me. My pulse raced, and I forced a laugh, claiming fatigue from work. But her eyes lingered, curious and perceptive. Every interaction became a suspenseful game. How long before she discovered the truth? Would she accept me, or would everything shatter? The lotion had become an obsession. I would sneak into my room at every chance, exploring dresses, heels, and stockings. The silky fabrics, the scent of perfume, the gentle pinch of stockings, they all felt like extensions of a new me, each sensation amplifying both the thrill and fear. I couldn't stop. I didn't want to. I was addicted to the secret life forming before me. One evening, I decided to push my limits further. I applied the lotion thoroughly, massaging every curve and contour. My chest had grown more defined, my hips curved elegantly, and my face radiated a softness that left me breathless. I stepped into a flowing dress that Emma had left hanging, and as I twirled before the mirror, the reflection staring back was mesmerizing, a perfect mix of fear, beauty, and excitement. But with the beauty came danger. I heard the front door open, Mom and Emma returning early. Panic shot through me. I scrambled to gather dresses, hide stockings, and conceal any trace of my transformation. My heart pounded in my chest, and my hands trembled as I tried to restore normalcy. Every second stretched into an eternity, each footstep outside my room sending waves of terror. The suspense was unbearable. Would they come upstairs? Would Emma peek in and discover me? Or would I be forced to confront the truth, my secret exposed? My reflection in the mirror seemed to mock me, showing the girl I had become, vibrant and beautiful, yet vulnerable. I realized that my life was no longer just a game of secret indulgence. It was a tightrope walk between desire and discovery, one misstep away from total revelation. As I crouched behind the dresser, clutching a dress to my chest, I made a silent vow. I would embrace this transformation, explore this new identity, and navigate the risks, but I would also be prepared for whatever consequences awaited. The lotion had changed me forever, and there was no turning back. The stage was set. My body, my mind, and my secret life were ready for the ultimate test. The thrill, the danger, and the suspense were about to collide in ways I could never have imagined. The climax of this story, where discovery, tension, and transformation reached their peak, was only moments away. The next morning began like any other, but the air felt heavier, charged with the knowledge that I was walking on a knife's edge. My body had changed further overnight. The gentle swell of my chest, the subtle curve of my hips, even the softness in my face had deepened. Each glance in the mirror reminded me that the boy I had been was gone, replaced by someone delicate, fragile, and undeniably feminine. I tiptoed through the house, careful to avoid Mom and Emma, who were busy chatting in the living room. My heels clicked softly on the floorboards, each sound a small thrill and a tiny terror. The lotion sat on my dresser like a silent accomplice, promising further transformation, yet threatening to expose me if anyone discovered it. Emma appeared at the doorway, unexpectedly early. My heart leapt. She tilted her head, a curious look on her face. "You look different," she said, voice calm but tinged with suspicion. My mind raced, searching for a response that wouldn't reveal too much. Just tired, I guess," I mumbled, avoiding her gaze. Her eyes lingered on me, sharp and perceptive. Every fiber of my being screamed that she might be on the verge of discovering my secret. The thrill of my hidden identity was now inseparable from the fear of exposure. I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet a part of me reveled in being seen, even partially, by someone else. As she moved on, I exhaled slowly, my body trembling with adrenaline. I returned to my room, clutching the lotion, and stared at my reflection. My chest, hips, and face had changed dramatically, yet I was still balancing on the edge of discovery. Every heartbeat echoed in my ears as I pondered the consequences of being caught. Deciding to push the boundaries further, I applied the lotion again, letting the warm liquid seep into every contour of my transforming body. My fingers trembled as I traced the delicate curves that had never existed before. The sensation was intoxicating, and I felt an almost electric connection to this new identity. The girl I was becoming, fragile and yet alive in a way I had never known. Suddenly, a sound downstairs, The front door opening again snapped me out of my trance. Panic surged. Had Mom or Emma returned unexpectedly? My heels clicked as I scrambled to hide, the dress slipping slightly from my shoulder. My reflection caught it, a fleeting, symbolic moment of vulnerability. One wrong move and everything would be exposed. I froze, heart pounding, holding my breath. The suspense was unbearable. Every passing second stretched into an eternity, each shadow in the hallway a potential threat. The thrill of my hidden life was now entwined with a dangerous game. One misstep could reveal everything. The house felt suffocating. Every sound, the creak of floorboards, the faint rustle of fabric, even the distant hum of the refrigerator, made my pulse spike. My reflection in the mirror was mesmerizing yet terrifying. The girl staring back at me was someone I barely recognized. My chest had become fully rounded, my waist tapering perfectly into hips that swayed subtly when I moved. My face glowed with softness, the kind that drew attention without words. Yet this beauty was a trap, a constant risk of exposure. I had intended just a quiet morning of reflection and lotion application, but fate had other plans. A knock on my bedroom door froze me mid-motion. My heart leapt into my throat. Emma's voice came softly through the door. "Are you okay in there? You've been in your room a long time." Panic clawed at me. My body had shifted so much that hiding any evidence of the lotion and my cross-dressing seemed impossible. I gripped the dress I was wearing, the silky fabric slippery in my trembling hands, and tried to straighten myself. My reflection in the mirror caught the slight tremor in my shoulders, the way my curves were impossible to disguise. Yeah, I'm fine," I called, forcing my voice to sound casual, though the soft lilt betrayed me. I could hear the slight pause on the other side of the door. Emma wasn't convinced. My pulse raced, every instinct screaming that discovery was imminent. I edged toward my desk, trying to casually arrange books and papers, but the lotion bottle caught my eye. It gleamed in the sunlight streaming through the window, a silent witness to my secret. My mind raced. Should I hide it in the drawer, or risk leaving it? The decision felt monumental. One slip and my entire hidden life would be revealed. Emma knocked again, firmer this time. "Seriously, are you okay?" she pressed. I swallowed hard, heart hammering. Could I maintain my composure? Could I act normal when my entire body was betraying me? I forced a laugh, lightly brushing at my hair to hide the subtle waves that had grown since my last application. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just needed a bit of alone time." My voice cracked slightly, and I froze, realizing the faint hint of femininity in my tone might tip her off. The door handle rattled. Emma had turned the knob slightly, testing it. My mind screamed. Should I confront her, deny everything, or try to stall? The seconds stretched endlessly. Each heartbeat sounded deafening in my ears. My reflection seemed to mock me. The girl in the mirror, vulnerable yet undeniably beautiful, a temptation for anyone who might see her. Then, unexpectedly, Emma withdrew. A soft sigh came through the door, almost amused. "Okay, I'll leave you to it," she said, though her tone carried curiosity. Relief surged through me, almost as intoxicating as the lotion itself. My body relaxed slightly, but my mind raced. This near discovery had heightened every fear, every thrill, every desire. I turned back to the mirror, fingers brushing against my curves. My chest was firm yet soft, hips rounded, and the contours of my waist perfect. My reflection now seemed more real than the boy I had once been. Each subtle shift in my body, each lingering glow of the lotion, made the thrill of my transformation irresistible. Yet every glance reminded me of the danger. Exposure could happen at any moment. That day became a blur of tension, anticipation, and experimentation. I applied more lotion, reveling in the warmth as it seeped into my skin, heightening the changes further. Each step I took, each motion I made in my dress, felt both thrilling and perilous. I realized that I had crossed a point of no return. My body, my secret, and my desires were entwined in a precarious balance. One misstep could shatter everything. By evening, the suspense had reached a fever pitch. Every creak outside my room, every muffled conversation downstairs, sent shivers down my spine. I was no longer just exploring a secret identity. I was living it, fully aware that discovery could come at any second. And yet, the thrill was addictive, almost unbearable. I had become both the observer and the observed, captivated by my reflection, terrified by the potential exposure, and helplessly drawn to the girl I was becoming. Night had fallen, and the house was quiet, but the silence was heavy with tension. I had spent hours studying my reflection, tracing the curves that had appeared almost overnight. My chest, hips, and waist had transformed so completely that hiding the changes seemed impossible. Every glance at the mirror reminded me that I was no longer the boy who had once occupied this body. Then, unexpectedly, a sound shattered the quiet. A knock at my bedroom door, sharp and insistent. My heart leapt into my throat. I froze, holding my breath. "Hey, it's me, Mom," came the voice. "Can I come in?" I hesitated, the lotion bottle clutched tightly in my hand. My reflection in the mirror seemed to mock me, showing the delicate curves, the softness of my face, and the long, feminine hair that cascaded over my shoulders. If Mom saw me like this, there was no turning back. I tried to compose myself, placing the lotion out of sight and smoothing down the dress I was wearing. Yeah, come in," I called, my voice betraying the faintest tremor. The door creaked open, and Mom stepped inside, her eyes scanning the room. She paused, noticing the dress, the neatly arranged stockings, the faint scent of perfume lingering in the air. "You've been busy," she said, curiosity piqued but not accusing. I forced a laugh, attempting casual nonchalance. "Just organizing some things." My hands trembled as I adjusted my hair, aware that any slight movement could reveal the full extent of my transformation. Mom approached, glancing at the lotion bottle partially hidden on the dresser. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and a soft gasp escaped her lips. "Is this?" she began, but I cut her off, voice shaking. "It's nothing. Just some lotion I was trying." The tension was unbearable. Every second stretched into an eternity as Mom lingered, her gaze flicking between me, the dress, and the lotion. My pulse pounded in my ears, each beat echoing the danger I was in. I realized that one wrong word, one hesitation, could expose everything, the girl I had become, the secret life I had been cultivating in silence. Then, as if the universe wanted to test me further, Emma's voice rang out from downstairs. "Mom, are you talking to someone?" I froze, the dress slipping slightly from my shoulder. My heart raced. Both Mom and Emma were moments away from discovering my secret. I clutched the fabric to my chest, feeling the warmth of the lotion still lingering on my skin, amplifying every curve, every contour. Mom's expression softened, a mixture of curiosity and amusement. "Just reorganizing things," she said, almost to herself. She left the room slowly, and I exhaled, my body trembling. The near discovery had pushed me to the edge. Every nerve was alive with fear and excitement. I sank to the floor, clutching the dress and the lotion, realizing that my life had irrevocably changed. The girl in the mirror was no longer just a reflection. She was me, and every secret, every thrill, every fear was now fully intertwined with this new identity. But the suspense wasn't over. The night had only just begun, and the stakes were higher than ever. Any moment, any sound, could unravel the fragile balance I had created. The thrill of transformation was now inseparable from the danger of exposure, and I was powerless to resist either. The house was silent again, but the silence was thicker now, heavy with the weight of near discovery. I sank to the floor, my dress pooling around me, the lotion's warmth still tingling on my skin. My reflection in the mirror seemed more alive than ever, a delicate, beautiful, and vulnerable girl, staring back at me with wide, anxious eyes. I realized that every decision I made now carried consequences I couldn't predict. I tried to steady myself, brushing my hair back and straightening the dress. My body had shifted further, my chest fuller, my hips rounded, and the soft contours of my face now unmistakably feminine. Even the way I breathed, the way I shifted my weight, was different. I had become someone else entirely, trapped in this new body, caught between excitement and fear. A sudden creak from the hallway snapped me out of my thoughts. Footsteps. I froze, clutching the dress to my chest. Mom was passing by, her eyes glancing toward my room. My pulse thundered in my ears. If she entered again, there was no hiding this time. I held my breath, willing her to continue on, her presence a looming threat. But then another voice, Emma, called from downstairs. I think I left my phone upstairs. My stomach sank. That voice meant she might appear at any moment, and the secret I had guarded so carefully could be revealed instantly. I scrambled, gathering dresses, slipping shoes back into boxes, and trying to restore the room to a semblance of normalcy. But the lotion bottle remained, a silent, glimmering accusation on my dresser. I considered hiding it, but my hands shook too violently. Every movement felt like it would betray me. As I crouched, heart racing, I realized the tension had become intoxicating. The fear, the thrill, the excitement, they were all intertwined now. I was no longer just living a secret life. I was fully immersed in it, addicted to the transformation, yet terrified of exposure. Suddenly, the door handle rattled again. Emma. My reflection caught the trembling of my hands, the soft curve of my cheek highlighted in the moonlight. The dress slipped slightly, revealing the faint outline of my new hips. My pulse surged. Every instinct screamed to hide, to flee, but I couldn't move fast enough. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Emma, standing in the doorway. Her eyes widened, a mixture of shock and curiosity playing across her face. "Whoa, you look different," she whispered, stepping closer. I froze, clutching the dress, unable to speak. My heart pounded violently, each beat echoing the thrill and terror coursing through me. Could I explain? Could I hide it? Or was my secret finally exposed? Emma's gaze flicked to the lotion bottle, then back at me. Is this why?" she asked, voice trembling slightly. My breath caught. The truth was on the edge of spilling, and every second stretched endlessly. I realized, in that moment, that there was no turning back. My body had changed, my identity was shifting, and my secret was teetering on the brink of revelation. The stakes had never been higher. One move, one word, and everything, my past, my secrets, my hidden identity, would collide with reality. Emma's gaze was fixed on me, wide-eyed and unblinking, and for the first time, I felt completely vulnerable. My hands trembled as I clutched the silky fabric of the dress, the lotion's lingering warmth on my skin amplifying every curve, every contour that betrayed my secret. My heart raced so violently it felt like it might burst from my chest. I can explain," I whispered, my voice trembling. The words felt small, inadequate against the storm of fear, excitement, and shame swirling inside me. Emma took a cautious step closer, and I could see the curiosity and maybe a hint of disbelief in her eyes. She reached toward the lotion bottle, and I froze. My mind spun. If she touched it, if she saw even a single drop on my hands, my entire double life would be laid bare. Yet, at the same time, a part of me wanted her to see, to acknowledge the girl in the mirror, to validate this new identity I was only beginning to embrace. Mom's friend, she left this? Emma's voice was barely audible, a mix of wonder and confusion. I nodded slowly, feeling the weight of my secret pressing down on me like a physical force. The dress slipped slightly from my shoulder, and I hastily grabbed it, the silky fabric sliding through my fingers. Emma's eyes flicked to the motion, her expression unreadable. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, revealing both the girl I had become and the boy I had left behind, two identities colliding in a single, fragile body. A sudden sound from the hallway, a creak of floorboards, made me jump. Mom was still somewhere in the house, moving about unknowingly, and I realized that discovery could happen at any second. My breath came in short, sharp bursts. I was trapped between exhilaration and terror, caught in the liminal space between exposure and concealment. Emma's hand lingered near the lotion, then slowly withdrew. She took a step back, her eyes searching mine. I don't even know what to say, she murmured. For a moment, the room seemed suspended in time, every heartbeat echoing loudly in my ears. I sank to the floor, clutching the dress and the lotion, trembling with adrenaline. My reflection glimmered in the moonlight, a perfect image of transformation, a haunting symbol of everything I had become. I realized that no matter what happened next, my life would never return to the way it had been. My secret, my identity, my desire to explore this new self, all of it had reached a point of no return. Yet, the suspense lingered. Would Emma accept me? Would she tell Mom? Could I hide my secret any longer, or had the lotion irrevocably erased the boy I once was? My mind raced, the tension almost unbearable. Every second was a test, every glance a potential revelation. And in that moment, frozen on the floor, staring at my reflection and at Emma's uncertain gaze, I understood. The true challenge was not the transformation itself. It was surviving the storm of discovery, desire, and fear that now defined my life. The scene ended there, suspended, leaving the room heavy with anticipation. One misstep could shatter everything. One word, one gesture, and my secret life, the girl I had become, the boy I had been, would collide with reality in an irreversible explosion. The moonlight poured through the window, casting long shadows across my bedroom floor. I sat on the edge of my bed, the silky dress pooling around me, the lotion bottle still glinting ominously on the dresser. My reflection stared back, soft, feminine, transformed, and for the first time, I realized that my old self had truly vanished. I was no longer just a boy experimenting with secret desires. I had become someone new, someone undeniably captivating, yet dangerously exposed. Emma remained in the doorway, silent and uncertain. Her wide eyes flicked between my face, my curves, and the bottle on the dresser. I could feel every second stretching like an eternity, my pulse hammering in my chest, my fingers gripping the fabric as though it could anchor me to reality. "Emma," I began, my voice barely above a whisper, trembling. I wanted to explain, to justify, to beg for understanding, but the words caught in my throat. How could I convey the whirlwind of fear, excitement, and transformation that had consumed me? How could I explain that my body, my mind, my very identity had shifted in ways I couldn't control? She took a cautious step forward, and I flinched. The air between us was charged, electric, a precarious balance of curiosity, disbelief, and tension. Her gaze softened, yet there was something unreadable in her eyes, a mixture of concern and wonder. Then, from downstairs, the faint sound of Mom's voice carried upward. "Emma, are you still awake?" Panic surged through me. The delicate bubble of secrecy I had been living in was cracking. Mom was somewhere in the house, oblivious, yet moments away from discovering everything. I felt trapped between fear and desire, caught in a storm that I could neither escape nor control. Emma glanced toward the stairs, then back at me. Her lips parted, as if to speak, but no words came. I realized then that I had crossed a threshold, my body, my secret, my hidden life, all poised on the edge of exposure. One small movement, one slip of the dress, one glance from Emma or Mom, and everything could unravel. I reached slowly for the lotion, almost instinctively, the silky bottle slick in my fingers. It had started this, and now it felt like both a lifeline and a threat. The warmth of the lotion on my skin amplified the curves, the softness, the undeniable transformation. I was addicted, exhilarated, terrified, and powerless all at once. Emma's gaze lingered on my reflection. You're different," she whispered, voice trembling. She stepped closer, her curiosity palpable, her presence a mix of temptation and judgment. I wanted to explain, to confess, to invite her into my secret, but the risk was monumental. Then, a sudden noise from the hallway. Floorboards creaking. A door opening. "Mom?" My heart lurched violently. I froze, clutching the dress, every muscle taut with fear. The shadows in the room seemed to lengthen, stretching across my reflection like fingers trying to drag me back to the past, back to a time when my secret had been safe, hidden, and controllable. Emma took another step forward, and I could feel the tension crackling between us. Her hand hovered near the lotion bottle, and I realized if she touched it, if she questioned it, if she truly saw me, there would be no hiding anymore. The girl in the mirror and the boy I had been would collide, shattering everything I thought I knew about myself. My breath came in shallow, rapid bursts. Every instinct screamed to flee, to hide, to undo what had been done. But the transformation had already taken root. My body, my mind, my desires, they had shifted irrevocably. I was trapped, yet drawn irresistibly to this new identity. Emma's eyes met mine, searching, questioning, and in that instant, the world outside seemed to vanish. The only reality was the two of us in that room, the lingering scent of lotion, the soft fabric of the dress, and the fragile, perilous secret I had cultivated. A shadow fell across the doorway, a hint of movement from the stairs. "Mom?" Another creak, another sound, and the tension became unbearable. My heart pounded in my chest. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in, the mirror reflecting a version of me that was both captivating and terrifying. I realized then that this was only the beginning. My secret, my transformation, my hidden identity, they were no longer safe. Every choice I made, every motion, every heartbeat could lead to discovery. And yet, I was helplessly drawn to this new self, addicted to the thrill, the beauty, and the danger of the transformation. The scene froze there, suspended in time. Emma's curiosity and hesitation, my trembling body and racing heart, the lotion's lingering warmth, the shadows of Mom potentially discovering everything, it all hung in the balance. One wrong move, one word, and the fragile world I had built would collapse. And so, the story ends on the edge of revelation. Would Emma accept the girl I had become? Would Mom discover the secret that had consumed me? Or would the lotion, the transformation, and the thrill of living this new identity forever erase the boy I once was? The answers were uncertain. The suspense was absolute. And the next chapter of my life, caught between fear, desire, and irreversible change, was waiting to be written. Underscore 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 underscore. The house had fallen into an uneasy quiet. I sat on my bed, still feeling the warmth of the lotion on my skin, my body humming with subtle, unstoppable changes. The reflection in the mirror no longer looked like me. The soft curves, delicate features, and long flowing hair were undeniable. I was no longer the boy who had applied the lotion earlier that day. I was something different. Suddenly, the doorbell rang downstairs. My heart lurched violently. Who could be visiting at this hour? Mom wasn't expecting anyone, and Emma was out. Every instinct screamed at me to hide, but what could I hide from? My reflection, my transformed body, was already an open secret in this room. I hurriedly pulled a robe over the dress, my fingers trembling. Every curve felt exaggerated, every movement delicate, and I knew that even a small sound could betray me. I tiptoed toward the window, peeking through the blinds. A shadowed figure stood at the door, a friend of Mom's I hadn't met before. My pulse raced. What if they saw me? The knock came again, louder this time. I froze. My mind spun. Should I answer? Should I pretend to be someone else? Or should I risk hiding? Before I could decide, the door opened. Mom's friend stepped inside, cheerful and unsuspecting, holding a small package. "Oh, I hope I'm not bothering you," she said, glancing around. "Mom asked me to drop this off. Thought you might want it inside." I swallowed hard, my reflection in the mirror showing the fear and excitement mixed in my wide eyes. The robe I wore did little to hide the curves, the softness, the unmistakable femininity of my body. Every step I took toward her was like walking on a tightrope over a chasm of exposure. She set the package down on the table, then turned slightly. Her eyes caught the faint shimmer of lotion residue on my hands. Her brow arched. Is that? Before she could finish, the robe slipped slightly from my shoulder. I panicked, lunging to pull it back, but it was too late. She gasped softly, and her gaze met mine fully for the first time. Shock, curiosity, and something else, I couldn't place it, flashed across her face. I can explain, I stammered, heart hammering. The room seemed to shrink around us. My reflection in the mirror was almost mocking me now, showing the girl I had become in stark, undeniable reality. The visitor tilted her head, studying me for a long moment. "Wow, you look incredible," she said finally, her voice soft but filled with awe. I blinked, unsure if I should feel relief or terror. She didn't seem angry or judgmental, just fascinated. But then, footsteps on the stairs made me jump. "Mom? Emma?" The thread of discovery surged again, and I realized my secret was no longer entirely my own. The lotion, the transformation, the thrill. I was caught between fear, exhilaration, and the unknown reaction of the world around me. The visitor smiled faintly, holding the package out to me. "I'll leave this here. Don't worry, your secret is safe for now." Her words, intended to reassure, only heightened the tension. My pulse thundered in my ears, the room spinning slightly as I realized that living this new life meant navigating not just my transformation, but the unpredictable reactions of others, curious friends, surprise visitors, and potentially judgmental family members. I sank back onto the bed, the robe slipping slightly again. My reflection stared at me, showing a girl who was beautiful, vulnerable, and trapped in a life I had never imagined. The alternate climax ended there, tense, thrilling, and unresolved. One wrong step, one glance, and everything could be exposed. The visitor had left the package, her footsteps fading down the stairs, but the tension in the room didn't dissipate. I sat on the edge of the bed, clutching the silky robe, my body still humming with the lingering effects of the lotion. My reflection stared back at me, the girl I had become impossible to ignore. Every nerve in my body was taut. Emma's absence felt like a blessing, yet her eventual return loomed over me like a storm cloud. Mom's occasional creak on the floorboards reminded me that discovery could happen at any moment. My heart raced, caught between exhilaration and panic. I glanced at the package left by Mom's friend. Something about it seemed to pulse with possibility and danger. Inside, I suspected, lay more evidence of the change that had taken hold of me, more reminders that my old life was slipping irreversibly away. My hands shook as I debated whether to open it now or wait for a private moment. Then, a sudden knock on the bedroom door made me jump. My pulse leapt to my throat. Who could it be? Emma? Mom? Or another unexpected visitor? I froze, every muscle straining, the robe barely concealing the curves and softness of my transformed body. "Are you okay in there?" A voice called, familiar yet hesitant. It was Emma. My chest tightened. This was the moment I had feared and longed for, the point where my secret and my desires collided with reality. Would she understand, accept, or reject me? I took a shaky breath, gripping the robe tighter. The moonlight caught the lotion's shimmer on my skin, highlighting every change, every curve, every sign that I was no longer the boy who had walked into this room hours ago. Emma's footsteps drew closer. I could hear her hesitation, the subtle rustle of clothing, the uncertain rhythm of her heartbeat that mirrored my own. My reflection in the mirror seemed to mock me, showing a girl who was beautiful, vulnerable, and entirely exposed. I realized then that nothing would ever be the same. My secret was fragile, my transformation undeniable, and the next moments, Emma's reaction, would determine whether I could continue living this double life or whether everything would shatter. The door handle turned slowly. I held my breath. Every second stretched into eternity. My heart pounded, my mind raced, and the world seemed to pause on the edge of revelation. And then the door opened. The scene froze there, heavy with suspense. Would Emma accept me? Would she turn away in shock? Or would Mom appear at the worst possible moment? The answers were unknown, and the tension was absolute. The story ended with all possibilities hanging in the balance, perfectly set for the next episode, leaving viewers desperate to know what happens next, sparking comments, speculation, and engagement. The room was silent, except for my ragged breathing. The lotion's warmth still tingled on my skin, every curve and contour of my transformed body impossible to ignore. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, a perfect, vulnerable image of the girl I had become, and a haunting reminder of the boy I had left behind. Then came the sound I'd been dreading, the soft creak of footsteps on the stairs. My heart leapt into my throat. Emma? Mom? Anyone could walk in at this moment and see me exactly as I was, caught between two identities, exposed, powerless. The door handle turned slowly. I froze, gripping the robe tighter around me. My pulse thundered in my ears. Every instinct screamed to hide, but hiding now was impossible. The change was already visible, undeniable. A shadow fell across the doorway. My breath caught. Time seemed to stretch as the figure stepped into the room, eyes locking on mine. I didn't know if I would face judgment, curiosity, or something far worse. The last thing I saw before everything froze was Emma's wide-eyed expression, a mix of shock and something else I couldn't read. And then, silence. The story ends there, on the edge of discovery, leaving viewers desperate to know. Will Emma accept the new me? Will Mom find out and react? Or has my secret life been exposed forever? Every heartbeat is a question. Every glance, a potential revelation. The suspense is absolute, perfectly set for the next chapter. The morning had started innocently enough. The lotion sat on the dresser, innocuous in its unassuming bottle. Mom's friend had left it behind during a brief visit the previous evening, smiling warmly as she handed it over. "It's supposed to be amazing," she said, her tone casual, yet somehow teasing, "for soft, glowing skin. I thought you might like it." At first, I hadn't thought much of it. My life had been a routine of small escapes, secret habits, and hidden pleasures, but nothing this intense. I stared at the bottle that morning, feeling a strange curiosity welling up inside me. Its smooth surface caught the sunlight, glinting like a secret waiting to be uncovered. I touched the lotion's cap, unscrewed it slowly, and a subtle scent of jasmine and vanilla floated up, intoxicating in its sweetness. My heart began to beat faster, not from danger, but from anticipation. Something about it felt different, forbidden, yet alluring. I could feel a shiver of excitement travel down my spine. With trembling hands, I applied the lotion to my arms. The silky texture spread easily, warming as it touched my skin. At first, nothing seemed to happen, and I laughed softly at my own overactive imagination. But as I looked in the mirror, I felt something subtle, a slight softening of my jawline, the faintest curve forming in my chest. I blinked, unsure if I was imagining it. Over the next hour, the changes intensified. My reflection no longer resembled the boy I had been. My features softened, my shoulders narrowed slightly, and a warmth bloomed across my skin that was both thrilling and terrifying. I touched my face, my hands shaking, as I realized that I was becoming someone else, someone beautiful, delicate, undeniably feminine. I felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. Was this real? Had Mom's friend really given me something capable of this transformation? Or was I losing my mind? I glanced at the bottle, wondering if it held the key to a secret I wasn't ready to confront. I thought about Emma. She had always known me as a boy, someone ordinary, someone safe. How would she react to the girl in the mirror now? I wanted to tell her, to share this new, intoxicating side of myself, yet fear rooted me in place. I didn't know if she would accept me, or if she would reject me entirely. My mind raced as I explored the first tentative steps of my transformation. I experimented with small changes in clothing, slipping into a soft blouse, then a skirt that felt strangely thrilling around my waist. The sensation of fabric against my new curves sent shivers down my spine. I caught myself in the mirror again, turning slowly, letting my reflection imprint itself on my memory. The sensation of anticipation was matched by vulnerability. Every movement, every glance, every touch reminded me that I was exposed, even if no one else could see. I felt the thrill of secrecy, knowing that my transformation was hidden from the world, yet visible to me in every detail. As the day wore on, I experimented more boldly. I applied subtle makeup, soft eyeliner, a touch of lip gloss, and gasped at the reflection that stared back. My eyes seemed larger, softer, my lips fuller, my skin glowing in ways that were almost magical. Each step heightened the intensity, making me both nervous and euphoric. Then came the challenge, the moment I realized that my new body couldn't be hidden forever. Emma was due back soon, and Mom was downstairs. The apartment felt smaller, every sound magnified. Footsteps on the stairs, the distant hum of a car outside, the creak of the floorboards, it all reminded me that the secret I was living was fragile, ready to shatter with a single misstep. I paced my room, adjusting the skirt, tugging at the blouse, practicing the sway of my hips. I wanted to move naturally, to embody the girl I was becoming, but my body still felt foreign. Every glance in the mirror revealed a subtle imperfection, a hint of the boy I had been, and it terrified me. Internal conflict consumed me. Part of me craved the thrill, the beauty, the sheer exhilaration of living as this new self. Another part screamed for caution, for safety, for a return to the familiar life I had known. I was caught in a whirlwind of desire and fear, the lotion's effects making every emotion sharper, every sensation more intense. Hours passed, and the transformation was undeniable. My body, my face, my very presence radiated femininity. I had to confront a truth I hadn't faced before. This change might not be temporary. The lotion had rewritten my reflection, my body, my identity. The boy I had been was vanishing, replaced by someone else entirely. Then came the moment of reckoning. A sudden noise, Mom's voice calling from downstairs, made me jump. Panic surged through me. Emma would be home soon. I had to make a choice: conceal my transformation, risk discovery, or fully embrace the new self that had taken root. I glanced at the mirror one last time before the footsteps approached the bedroom door. The girl in the reflection stared back with wide, anxious eyes, but also with a strange, thrilling confidence. My heart raced. Every second was a choice, every movement a potential exposure. The suspense was unbearable. I was no longer just experimenting, no longer just curious. I was living a life on the edge of revelation. And deep down, I knew that once Emma or Mom saw me, nothing would ever be the same. The room felt charged with anticipation, my body humming with the lotion's lingering warmth, my mind torn between fear and exhilaration. The first chapter of my transformation was complete, but the real challenge, the real suspense, was about to begin. After the initial thrill of noticing the first subtle changes from the lotion, I found myself unable to stop thinking about it. Every glance in the mirror was a revelation. My reflection, once familiar and ordinary, now revealed softening cheekbones, delicate curves along my arms, and a warmth spreading across my chest. The changes were no longer subtle. They were real, undeniable, and irreversible. I spent hours pacing my room, experimenting with how to move in my new body. Each step was a mix of excitement and fear. I tried on clothes that had always belonged to Emma's wardrobe when she wasn't home, a silky blouse, a short skirt that swayed with the slightest motion. I gasped at how natural it felt, how each movement emphasized the curves that weren't there yesterday. But the thrill came with an acute vulnerability. My secret was precarious. Mom was downstairs, humming as she cleaned the living room. Emma would be back later, probably expecting to find me the same boy she had left that morning. I wasn't that boy anymore. My body, my voice, even the way I held myself had shifted. I was someone entirely new. The lotion's effects continued subtly, almost imperceptibly, but every hour brought more changes. My hands were smaller, softer, fingers delicate. My legs felt shapelier, my hips narrower in the right places but fuller in others. The sensations were surreal, tingling, thrilling, and slightly terrifying. I felt like a stranger in my own skin, yet every inch of that stranger delighted me. I experimented with makeup, nervously brushing eyeliner across my eyes. At first, I trembled. It felt unnatural, foreign, and yet the reflection staring back at me sparked a kind of joy I had never known. My lips, glossier and fuller than ever, parted slightly in awe. My identity as the boy I had been seemed further and further away with every brushstroke. Curiosity mingled with anxiety. I wondered what Emma would think if she saw me like this. Would she recognize me? Would she accept this new version of me? Or would the shock be too much? The thought was electrifying, making my pulse race and my palms sweat. I wanted to be seen, yet feared exposure. The sense of suspense was heightened by every small sound, the creak of the floorboards, Mom moving in another room, the ticking of the clock. It was a delicate balance, exhilaration and fear intertwined. Each step of my transformation felt like a stolen moment, one that could be discovered at any second. By late afternoon, I found myself fully experimenting with my new persona. I tried walking in high heels I found tucked away in the closet, wobbly at first, each step making my heart race. But soon, I learned to move with a grace that was both unfamiliar and intoxicating. The swish of a skirt, the sway of my hips, the soft click of heels on the floor, it all became part of an emerging identity I was only beginning to understand. Every glance at my reflection deepened the conflict within me. Part of me thrilled in this new life. The beauty, the attention I imagined, the thrill of secrecy. Another part clung to the boy I had been, the safety, the normalcy, the comfort of being unseen. Yet, as the lotion continued to work its magic, that old identity felt more distant, more impossible to reclaim. By the time evening approached, I knew I couldn't stop. The lotion had changed me, my desires had shifted, and the secret I carried was now a thrilling, terrifying obsession. I had to hide, but I also had to explore this new self. Every sound from downstairs, the clatter of dishes, Mom humming a tune, reminded me that discovery was imminent. And just then, my phone buzzed, a message from Emma. She was coming home early. The tension spiked instantly. My body was transformed, my identity altered, and my secret teetered on the edge of exposure. Every decision now carried weight. Should I try to conceal the changes, or embrace the new persona fully before Emma walked through the door? The room felt smaller, the shadows longer. I glanced in the mirror one last time before the knock at the door seemed inevitable. The girl I was becoming stared back, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear, excitement, and anticipation. This was the point of no return, the build-up complete, the suspense palpable, the transformation unstoppable. The apartment was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside and the shallow, uneven breaths I was taking. Emma stood frozen, her eyes wide with disbelief, yet something in her gaze was softer now, a mix of shock, curiosity, and uncertainty. Mom's friend lingered near the doorway, her expression a mixture of awe and mischief, as if she had known this might happen all along. I tried to speak, to explain, but the words stuck in my throat. Every movement felt amplified, every gesture betraying the truth I had been hiding for weeks. My transformed body, curves that hadn't existed yesterday, hands delicate and foreign, lips fuller than I remembered, made every attempt at normalcy impossible. Emma stepped closer, and my pulse spiked. Are you okay?" she whispered, her voice tentative. My lips parted to answer, but before I could form words, the lotion bottle glimmered under the lamp, catching the light in a way that drew both their eyes toward it. My secret had a name, a tangible object that proved everything, the catalyst for this transformation. Mom's friend let out a soft chuckle. "Well, I guess it's working better than I expected," she said. Her tone was teasing, almost conspiratorial. I swallowed hard, heart hammering. Was she enjoying my panic? Did she know what she had done? Or was this another twist in a game I didn't agree to play? Emma's eyes shifted from me to the lotion and back again. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. I felt exposed, as though every inch of my private self was on display, every secret laid bare. My mind raced with questions. How would she react? Would she accept me like this? Or would she see only what I had lost, the boy I used to be? Suddenly, my phone buzzed on the table. A message from an unknown number lit up the screen. I see you've started using it. Are you ready for the next step? My heart lurched. Who was watching? Who knew? And what next step could be worse than this? Emma glanced at the screen, her expression tightening. Who is that? She asked, a shadow of worry crossing her face. I froze. Could I tell her the truth? Or would that only make things worse? The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in, and my reflection in the mirror seemed to stare back at me, not as the boy I had been, but as someone entirely new, someone caught between fear and exhilaration. Mom's friend stepped closer, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. Looks like things are just getting started, she said, almost as if she were inviting me into something I didn't fully understand. I felt a shiver run down my spine. My secret life, my new identity, my body, everything was now on the edge of exposure, and there was no turning back. Emma took a hesitant step forward, her hand reaching toward mine. We need to talk about this, she said softly. But before I could respond, a loud knock echoed from the front door. My heart stopped. Another visitor? Someone unexpected? The suspense was unbearable. I backed toward the mirror instinctively, my eyes catching my reflection. The girl staring back was fully realized, every curve, every softened feature, every flicker of emotion displayed for all to see. The mirror wasn't just glass, it was a threshold, a symbol of change, of exposure, and of the thrilling, terrifying new reality I now lived in. The door creaked open, and a shadow fell across the hallway. I couldn't see who it was yet, but the tension was unbearable. Emma's hand froze in midair. Mom's friend tilted her head with interest, and I felt the weight of every secret, every hidden desire, every transformation bearing down on me. I knew, in that moment, that nothing would ever be the same. My old life, the boy I had been, the safety, the normalcy was gone. In its place was a life full of uncertainty, desire, and the intoxicating thrill of being someone entirely new. Yet I didn't know if I would survive the next moments unscathed, or if my secret would be fully revealed in ways I couldn't control. And then, just as the shadow in the doorway shifted, a voice spoke from the hallway. Is this her? My blood ran cold. The suspense was complete. Everything hung in the balance, my identity, my secret, my new reality. I could only stare, frozen, as the door slowly creaked wider, leaving the audience wondering, who is there? Will Emma accept me? What does the next step mean? And can I survive this transformation without losing everything? The screen fades to black.